The delicate ceasefire agreement involving the United States, Iran, and Israel is facing a precarious future, with recent developments threatening to unravel the fragile peace. The truce, which also extended to a halt in hostilities in Lebanon, has been jeopardized by what are described as massacre-like strikes by Israel in Lebanon. These actions have prompted global powers, including NATO nations, to express deep concerns about the potential escalation of conflict in West Asia, a region already devastated by months of war. Italy has taken a firm stance against the recent developments, with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni issuing a strong condemnation of Israel's actions. She accused Israel of violating the two-week ceasefire by launching strikes in Lebanon on the very day the truce was announced. The attacks reportedly resulted in the deaths of hundreds, including the nephew of Naim Qassem, head of the Iran-backed group Hezbollah, during an overnight airstrike on Beirut, claimed by Israel. Defense Forces. Meloni warned that the world is perilously close to reaching a point of no return. The world has come within a step of the point of no return, she cautioned, urging all parties to pursue peace with determination. In a passionate address to the Italian parliament, Meloni emphasized Italy's condemnation of any ceasefire violations and called for a permanent halt to hostilities. She also highlighted the need for the restoration of freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil trade route. Asterisks, we of course firmly condemn any form of ceasefire violation, permanent cessation of hostilities, cessation of attacks on the Gulf countries, cessation of military operations in Lebanon, Iran's renunciation of its nuclear program, and full restoration of freedom of movement in the Strait of Hormuz. Asterix, Meloni declared she stressed the importance of maintaining unfettered access to the strategic waterway, warning that any restrictions could have unpredictable economic consequences. Adding to the complexity, Iran has reportedly signaled its intention to impose a $1 per barrel toll on oil tankers passing through the Strait of Hormuz, demanding payment in cryptocurrency. This move comes despite a two-week ceasefire agreement with the United States, under which Iran agreed to temporarily reopen the strait. The imposition of such a toll could complicate efforts to stabilize the region further. Spain, another NATO nation, has also voiced strong opposition to Israel's actions. Foreign Minister Jose Manuel Albares accused Israel of violating both the ceasefire and international law. Yesterday, we saw how Israel, flouting the ceasefire and in violation of international law, dropped hundreds of bombs on Lebanon, Albares told lawmakers. In a significant diplomatic move, he announced that Spain would reopen its embassy in Tehran in hopes of contributing to peace efforts in the region. This decision is seen as a bold step for a nation aligned with the Western Bloc and underscores Spain's desire to engage directly in efforts to resolve the conflict. Spain has emerged as one of the most vocal critics among Western nations of U.S. and Israeli actions in Iran and Lebanon. The country has gone so far as to close its airspace to any aircraft involved in what Madrid has characterized as reckless and illegal conflicts. Meanwhile, China, a close ally of Iran, has also weighed in, calling for respect for Lebanon's sovereignty and warning against further escalation. China's statement emphasized the importance of preserving Lebanon's sovereignty and security, urging all parties to maintain calm and exercise restraint to promote a cooling down of the regional situation. The United Nations has also condemned Israel for its recent attacks on Lebanon, which have resulted in significant civilian casualties. The international body strongly criticized the loss of civilian lives and called on all sides to utilize diplomatic channels to cease hostilities and commit to the full implementation of Security Council Resolution 1701. The ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, according to the UN, presents an opportunity to prevent further loss of life between Lebanon and Israel. The UN urged all parties to abide by the ceasefire and pursue talks aimed at resolving outstanding differences. Despite the mounting international pressure, Israel appears resolute in continuing its military operations in Lebanon, targeting what it claims are Hezbollah strongholds. The Israeli Defense Forces reiterated their commitment to disarming Hezbollah, a goal that predates the current campaign and has been reinforced by recent events. Our strikes are meant to weaken Hezbollah significantly and ultimately bring about its disarmament over time. We will not give up this goal, stated an IDF spokesperson. Iran, on the other hand, has signaled that its ceasefire with the United States is in jeopardy as tensions extend beyond Gaza and Lebanon to the Berg. Odor regional conflict. According to Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency, officials have warned that Tehran might withdraw from the ceasefire arrangement if Israeli strikes in Lebanon persist. The language from Tehran has been notably sharp, with Iranian officials directly linking Washington's role to Israel's actions. An official cautioned that if the United States cannot restrain its ally, Iran would be compelled to intervene. This stark warning underscores the high stakes involved and the potential for further escalation if the situation is not contained. In the midst of heightened tensions and a delicate ceasefire, the geopolitical landscape of West Asia is once again under scrutiny. The fragile truce involving the United States, Iran, and Israel, which also extended to include Lebanon, is teetering on the brink of collapse due to recent military actions. Israel's reported strikes in Lebanon have been described as massacre-like, raising alarms among global powers, including NATO countries who fear escalating conflict in a region already ravaged by war. Italy has been particularly vocal about these developments. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has issued a stern condemnation of Israel's actions, accusing the nation of breaching the two-week-old ceasefire by initiating attacks on Lebanon on the very day the truce was declared. These strikes have reportedly resulted in significant casualties, including the death of the nephew of Naim Qassem, a prominent figure in Hezbollah, an Iran-backed group. Meloni's warning to the international community was blunt, highlighting that the world is perilously close to reaching a point of no return. She called for a concerted effort to pursue peace with unwavering determination. Addressing the Italian parliament, Meloni underscored Italy's firm stance against any violation of the ceasefire and advocated for a permanent cessation of hostilities. She emphasized the necessity of restoring freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial artery for oil trade. Meloni declared, "We, of course, firmly condemn any form of ceasefire violation, permanent cessation of hostilities, cessation of attacks on the Gulf countries, cessation of military operations in Lebanon, Iran's renunciation of its nuclear program, and full restoration of freedom of movement in the Strait of Hormuz." She cautioned that any restrictions on this strategic passage could lead to unforeseen economic consequences. Meanwhile, Iran is reportedly signaling that the tenuous ceasefire with the United States is at risk of disintegration as tensions spill over from Gaza and Lebanon into a broader regional conflict. According to the semi-official Tasnim news agency, Iranian officials have warned that they may withdraw from the ceasefire arrangement if Israeli strikes in Lebanon persist. This stark warning comes amidst ongoing hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah, despite diplomatic efforts to contain the conflict. The language from Tehran has been notably sharp, with one official reportedly stating that if the United States cannot control its vicious dog, Iran would intervene with force. This statement directly implicates Washington in Israel's actions and raises the stakes for further escalation. Iran has also begun identifying potential targets in response to what it describes as Israeli aggression, indicating contingency plans are in place even as the ceasefire technically remains. The ceasefire, while officially in place, appears more theoretical than practical. The multifaceted nature of the conflict involving Israel, Hezbollah, and Iran-aligned groups complicates enforcement. Actions in one theater now directly influence decisions in another, diminishing the effectiveness of bilateral understandings. What initially began as a confrontation centered around U.S.-Iran-linked targets has expanded into a regional network of interconnected flashpoints, with developments in Lebanon, the Gulf, and Israel now lie interwoven. As a result, the ceasefire is under increasing strain, and its survival may depend less on direct U.S.-Iran interactions and more on how events unfold across other fronts, particularly in Lebanon, where continued strikes risk provoking a broader response. Globally, diplomatic efforts are intensifying to prevent a further descent into conflict. Spain, another NATO nation, has been outspoken in its criticism of recent developments. Foreign Minister José Manuel Albas accused Israel of not only violating the ceasefire, but also international law. Addressing lawmakers, Alvarez stated, "Yesterday we saw how Israel, flouting the ceasefire and in violation of international law, dropped hundreds of bombs on Lebanon." In a strategic move, Spain has announced plans to reopen its embassy in Tehran, signaling its commitment to fostering peace in the region, which observers view as a bold step for a nation aligned with the Western Bloc. Alvarez instructed Spain's ambassador in Tehran, to resume his post and reopen the embassy, underscoring Spain's intention to contribute to peace efforts from all possible avenues. China, a key ally of Iran, has also weighed in, advocating for respect for Lebanon's sovereignty and cautioning against further escalation. The Chinese government emphasized that Lebanon's sovereignty and security should not be violated and that the safety of civilian lives and property must be guaranteed. China called on all relevant parties to exercise restraint and work towards de-escalation in the region. The United Nations has also expressed strong condemnation of Israel's latest attacks on Lebanon, citing significant civilian casualties. The UN has called on all parties involved to avail themselves of diplomatic channels and recommit to the full implementation of Security Council Resolution 1701, which aims to address hostilities between Lebanon and Israel. The UN has stressed that there is no military solution to the conflict and that now is the time to pursue talks aimed at resolving outstanding differences and working towards a permanent ceasefire and long-term solution to the conflict. Despite mounting international pressure, Israel remains resolute in its military objectives, particularly its goal to disarm Hezbollah. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have stated that their strikes are intended to significantly weaken Hezbollah's capabilities and ultimately achieve its disarmament. The IDF insists that this objective has been a priority before, during, and after the current campaign, and it remains committed to it over time. As the situation continues to evolve, the future of the ceasefire remains uncertain. Iran's warning, while stopping short of an immediate withdrawal, signals that the conditions for escalation are already in place, and the margin for maintaining the ceasefire is narrowing. The developments underscore the fragility of the current peace and the complex web of regional dynamics at play, with each action potentially triggering a chain reaction across multiple fronts. The world watches closely as diplomatic efforts intensify, hoping for a peaceful resolution to a deeply entrenched conflict.